Hi guys, it's Jeannie with healthadjacent.com, and today I'm doing a video about a recent trip that I had to the doctor. And it's hard to do this video, honestly, because it was such a terrible trip. It was such a terrible day. I talk about demoralizing. I really do try to avoid going to the doctor for just this reason. And I know that I am not alone in this, that there are other people who suffer this same kind of treatment. But, yeah, it's been a long time since it's happened to me. So, I was really having some problems. I was feeling extremely fatigued. I couldn't function like more than usual. Obviously with fibromyalgia, that's a problem to begin with. But this was more than usual, more severe than usual. And I had a lot of weakness in my limbs and a lot of pain in my joints. None of these things are related to fibromyalgia, by the way. Well, I guess the fatigue definitely can, but fibromyalgia is really more muscle related than joint related. So I have been trying to work with my doctor to figure out what else is happening in my body, my rheumatologist. So I call my rheumatologist and I say, this is what's happening, what do you think I should do? I really am feeling very sick. And she said, well, I'm out of the office for a week, so why don't you call your primary care physician the next day, go in and just maybe get some blood work done to make sure everything's okay. So I did. My doctor was out for 2 weeks, my primary care physician, so they gave me somebody else in the practice. They worked me in the following day, which was great. I was happy to be seen. I could barely walk. I was so tired. It's hard to describe. Tired doesn't actually capture it, but it was like brushing my hair was like, it was just so hard. I couldn't even, it was terrible. It was really hard to walk to even get to the doctor's office. And when I got there, this doctor who had never seen me before in her life started asking me rapid fire questions about my illness and how long I'd had it and a variety of other things. And before I could even get the answer out, she'd cut me off and ask me another question. And she was so incredibly demeaning in her questioning. She was, you're taking pain medicine, that's why you're tired. And I'm like, no, I've been taking the same kind of pain medicine for 6 years. I know what it means to be tired. This is not the same thing. I'm having a hard time staying awake. I slept for 20 out of the last 24 hours. That is not normal. I've never experienced that before, I said. And she's like, well, are you in bed that whole time? And I'm like, well, yes, I am. Well, are you depressed? Have you seen a psychiatrist? Well, no, I'm not depressed. I don't need a psychiatrist. Yes, I've seen one before. But no, I don't need one. That's not what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me is this, fatigue and whatever. This went on and on where she just said, well, have you tried walking? Have you tried yoga? Okay, listen, lady, I can't get out of bed, so no. I'm not gonna freaking go for a walk. I can't walk to the bathroom. So no, I haven't really walked a lot this week. She was suggesting exercise as in a way that was accusatory, like, well, you're obviously not physically active enough. Well, no shit. No shit. And I can't tell you the number of times that I've had that conversation with a doctor. Well, you need to get more exercise. I know, I agree. Help me get there. Help me get there. Help me manage my pain so that I can exercise more. Help me, do it. Go, let's do it. Listen, if I could, I would. I'd be happy. I used to run. I used to play sports. Walking was something I did at the mall. I used to be very physically active. I used to work out, lift weights. Come on, let's go. Give me something. Give me a way to manage my pain enough that I can function enough to do that. But don't just sit there and tell me, well, you should get more exercise. Well, I should be able to not be in pain, but we haven't accomplished that either. Anyway, I said, my pain has been so significant in the past 6 months that I really spend a lot of time in bed. I just am in too much pain to do anything. And she's like, well, do you have any hobbies? I mean, what do you do with your life? Well, I work. I have my own business. I work from my bed. I'm a published author. I run a variety of blogs. I mean, really? Talk about making me feel about this big. And that just shows me what a complete lack of understanding doctors have about how chronic pain works. You don't just sit in bed because you want to. Given the choice, most people would not want to sit in the bed all day. They just wouldn't, or lay in the bed. I don't lay in there and do nothing, I said. Do I have hobbies? Yes, and I can't believe that I listed some hobbies for her, because what the hell right did she have to ask me that question? Do you have hobbies, doctor? Maybe you need some. Maybe you could take up, I don't know, bedside manner as a hobby. This goes on, and I'm getting more and more riled and more upset, and I can't think fast enough. She's asking me questions so quickly that I can hardly formulate a plan to respond to her. So my partner, who's with me, interrupts and says, listen, doctor, I know that you probably prefer to hear from the client, your patient, what's happening, but, I'd like to tell you that this is different behavior from what I've seen from her lately. The doctor does not even look at my partner, doesn't even acknowledge her existence in the room, and looks at me and says, is this your friend? I say, no, she's my partner. That was it. No other response. No other response to her whatsoever. I mean, I was so mad. I was so angry. My blood pressure had to have been through the roof. And she's like, okay, well, you really should consider not taking as much pain medication, and then you won't feel as lethargic. Listen, lady. Don't you think I know that pain medicine can cause lethargy? Don't you think I know that? That's not what this is, by the way. I know the difference. So she says, well, let's check your kidney function, and I'm going to go read your chart. And she comes back. I go check my kidney function, if you know what I mean, and come back, and she's like, well, your tests are normal, of course, because that's also what happens when you have fibromyalgia. Everything is normal, except that you can't function. But other than that, everything's normal. And she says, really, you should make an appointment to come back, and you should really make an appointment to see your primary care doctor. Well, no kidding. I say to her, yes, I know I should. She's out for 2 weeks. Oh, she says. And I said, I want to be clear, because at this point I've had time to think. I want to be clear with you that I'm not asking you for anything additional for pain. I'm not here about pain medicine at all. I'm here about the fact that I can't wake up, and it has nothing to do with the medication that I'm taking. She goes, oh, I know you're not here for medication. I don't know. So she sent me to have some blood drawn and to do a 24-hour urine collection, which is a lot of fun, let me tell you. I have no doubt that everything will come back normal, because these are the same tests that get run on me every time I get sick, and the same tests come back the same way, and it's always normal. But I guess it was her concession to treat me by running some tests. And obviously I will follow up with my doctor, my regular primary care doctor, although I'm not exactly sure what good that will do. And while on the way home, that was about enough. That was insult enough. On the way home, I find that another doctor in the practice who's standing in for my doctor decided, this happened at a different time, I just hadn't found out yet, Decided to reduce my pain medicine by a third. Did not talk to me. I called in the week before. I left 3 messages. I said, can we please discuss this? I need to pick up a prescription refill. Is that going to be okay? Etc. I left 3 messages. The office called me to say, come pick up your prescription, which I did. I didn't look at it for a couple days. On my way home from the doctor, this last time I opened it just so I could see, we could drop it off on the way home. I look at it, and it's been reduced by a third. And the only indication that anything was going to change for me about that medication was that on the prescription, in parentheses, really little, right next to the amount, it said reduced amount. That's it. That's the only notification I got. That's the only conversation I got. And I mean, I can't tell you how disempowering that is. If you want to talk to me about reducing a medication or trying something different or whatever, I am totally open to having that conversation. What I'm not open to is somebody making that decision on my behalf. I came home feeling utterly and completely defeated. I left the house feeling bad with no information. I came back feeling worse with no information about why I felt that way. So I call back. I leave a message for the doctor that wrote the prescription to call me back. Not only that, but I made an appointment so that I could go in and see that doctor. It doesn't happen until the first week of April, but I will. If this is the only way I can talk to the man who's prescribing me this medication, then that's what I'll have to do. Go in and see him because he will not return my call. So I called the patient, it's not the patient complaint line, but it's like the patient support line or something where they're supposed to intercede and kind of help patients manage the system, and if there's a problem, they talk to them, blah, blah, blah. I tell this whole story to this little girl who answers the phone, and I say to her, listen, I know that you didn't do this, and I know that there's nothing that you really can do about it, but I'm going to tell you that your hospital and your associated practices don't know anything about dealing with people who manage chronic pain, and it has been one of the most insensitive experiences of my entire medical treatment history, and I've seen a lot of doctors. She's like, oh, well, I'm gonna contact him on your behalf and blah, 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 and let me try to work this out. I'm like, you can give it a try, lady, but it isn't gonna happen. That was 5 days ago. Not a peep from that doctor. Not a peep. So I guess, I don't even know what to say. I've been stewing about it for a week or so. I just don't understand why people have to be such colossal assholes and so judgmental. Like, it just really, it may seem like no big of a deal. It may seem like it's not a big deal if you're the doctor who sees 200 patients, in a month or 2 months or whatever, and I'm just a number, but I actually have to live this life for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You cut back my pain medicine, and that's 24 hours of increased pain a day for 7 days a week, etc., ad infinitum. And I have to live with the consequences of your random decision making that you didn't even bother to talk to me about, and I'm the one taking it. Anyway, that's just my rant, honestly. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. Doctors have responded to me and other people with chronic illness like this in the past. It happens to my mom. She has fibro too. But I guess I keep hoping that the attitude about fibromyalgia is going to change and people are going to recognize it for the chronic illness that it is. But, I mean, after this last ordeal, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of hopeless about the medical profession. Sorry about that text. Anyway. All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon.